If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be irresponsible. Some decisions are just unwise no matter how you slice them. And lately, I've increasingly found that opening the Instagram app falls into these irresponsible decisions because what is even happening there anymore? I feel like Instagram was just losing me over the years bit by bit, but when they finally rolled out IG Reels, I was like, is this even real? Did I hallucinate this feature? What is the point of this? But it turns out people have found unique and creative ways to use IG Reels. Like in today's video, faking a Marina Joyce moment to promote your merch. Now, as wild as the story is, you may not have heard of it because, again, it happened on Instagram Reels. But in short, this influencer had her entire fan base convinced for like a week straight that she was being stalked. But then it later came out that this was all just a publicity stunt so she could launch her new merch line. So as you can imagine, there's a lot to get into. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of Neo-Victorian Cybernetics, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, we're going to look at none other than Daisy Choi and the story of somebody having absolutely no idea where to draw the line. It raises some pretty interesting questions about influencers and their fans, and while the bulk of this has been deleted from the internet, as you're about to see, the golden rule of the internet is that actually you can't really delete anything at all because somebody will have it. So of course, the first questions I always like to start with are, who is this person and where do they do the thing that they do, and also what is that? So Daisy Choi is a 21-year-old influencer with 1.3 million subscribers on YouTube and 400k on her Instagram. If you've never heard of her, it's all good. I actually feel like that happens to me more and more nowadays, where I'll see somebody new, look them up, and find out they have like 4 million subscribers and I've just been living under a rock. Unless it's a TikTok creator, in which case I look them up and then they have like 10 million. But Daisy is known for posting aesthetic content to the internet. Back to school shopping for college, cute clothes and supplies. She basically just puts a lot of work into making content that is as visually pleasing as she can manage. And she manages quite well. I mean, obviously, I'm not into school vlogs at my big age, but if there is one thing I can commend, it is commitment to a visual aesthetic. If you've ever noticed my videos look nice and feel a certain way to the eye, it's because I actually create stuff like this beforehand. This is the one I'm currently using. I used to use this one. If you've been here for a while, you might recognize these colors. Here's the one I used on my main channel. I never really talk about the behind the scenes of my aesthetics, but you know, I put a lot of thought into it. So all this to say, Daisy's content's not really for me, but I get it. This is an aesthetic I actually made and then wound up not even using because I had a mental breakdown. But if I had been physically able to create YouTube videos at this time, I'm sure they would have looked very pleasing. Stuff like that makes me very grateful for days like this when I feel nice, I'm happy, and I can do the things. Never take them for granted, and don't beat yourself up for days that are not like this. Also, speaking of vlogs, I feel like I can never really get into vloggers nowadays unless they give me Jenna Marbles vibes, which none of them do. I miss this. Where is this on YouTube? If you know, please let me know. If you ever see me making a dog a birthday cake, you'll know I'm just picking up where Jenna left off and I've given up on commentary. But alas, there's plenty to comment on today. My friends and I are being stalked, so says the IG reel that Daisy uploaded recently.
My friends and I, we have a stalker. Someone in our neighborhood keeps going around dropping off gifts at our doorstep and we don't know who it is. The gifts are so random. It ranges from flowers to candy to donuts to stuffed animals.
So obviously, even if somebody is giving you tea, flowers, and an assortment of teddy bear themed gifts, you should literally never accept things like this if you don't know where they're coming from. But instead, Miss Choi decided to do a stalker present unboxing, a haul basically of things that were gifted to her by a stalker.
And I received this earlier this week. I feel like I should be worried about this. Literally have the same exact one.
And I see she added the text, should I smile or cry? I think the third option is, you should not have opened this box.
This is really cute though. I'd keep this. At first, my friends and I were really scared, but this has been going on for weeks, you guys. And this is kind of cute, so thank you, Teddy.
Even if this video was real, just thanking your stalker, giving them this level of attention and putting up with it just because the gifts were cute is, please don't. I think this behavior would have been bad to model even in a vacuum towards her audience. And seeing as she said this behavior was going on for weeks, people were reasonably very concerned. Now, this Instagram reel happens to be one of the key items in the story that has been deleted. So technically, I don't have access to those comments, but there were a lot of them because Daisy's reels go crazy. 500,000, 700K, 3 million. Nowadays, we'll never know just how many views that racked up before it was deleted, but it's safe to assume hundreds of thousands of people saw this, if not millions. And it was even being reposted by other accounts. And on those existing reposts, you can see people were very concerned. Put a camera or guard your mailbox. I don't know how she's not concerned. Like, girl, your address is about to get doxxed. But according to Daisy, the stalker was just getting started. Teddy Stalker Part 2. So you know how she said the stalker was leaving things not just for her, but for the friends and family within her neighborhood? Apparently, this stalker decided to go global.
Guys, it happened again.
Are your other friends you vlogged with, like, experiencing this?
I don't think so.
So Daisy shows a friend calling her who allegedly got gifts all the way in Paris. And then Daisy's gifts were getting more elaborate and expensive.
Guess what we got today? It has a memo that says, I got you this because it has a teddy. Some of you guys thought that my friend would do this. We're all too broke for this. These go for more than $200 on PopMart.
Now, as for Daisy's assertion that she couldn't have faked the stalking because she's not rich enough to afford the items, come on, Daisy. You know we see them views. I see that 500,000, 300K, 68 million lifetime views. I think you could afford $200 to contribute to a potentially fake internet story. But to be clear, the scenario she's presenting is not unrealistic, and I would not immediately accuse her of faking this had it not been revealed very clearly later. But anyways, first we got to finish our stalker unboxing. So she's receiving little figurines and things that happen to match things she already has in her room. I guess the stalker understands her because the gifts are all very her. And you know, one could argue that with the inclusion of the friend from Paris, the story is now getting difficult to believe. If anything, I think this would all be still very weird, but maybe better if Daisy was not trying to seem like she was being serious. But she was on her Instagram story talking about how this was real and this was happening. Obviously, the stories are gone, but she was also posting this on her Instagram broadcast channel. I don't know if I'm being trolled, but someone keeps sending me letters and teddy bear stuff. But it's not the best because that means they know my location. Ha ha ha. And Daisy's broadcast channel is huge with 42,000 members. So 42,000 people, thousands of people reacting to the message, basically verifying that she was being stalked. I can understand why people believed her. And actually, before we look at the reactions in her broadcast channel, I do have to stop and ask, literally, what is an Instagram broadcast channel? Like, I was not kidding in the beginning of the video. I do not understand any of Instagram's new features or why they are there. Introducing broadcast channels, a new way for creators to deepen connection with followers. And I guess this has been a thing for like a year and a half. Does anybody know about this? How does this differ from Threads? Because I was barely keeping up with Threads. Broadcast channels are a public one-to-many messaging tool for creators to directly engage with their followers at scale. Okay, so it's like a special form of Twitter where people can only follow you. I was gonna say that doesn't actually sound too bad, but then I saw Zuck did it and now I don't like it anymore. Only Zuck can message, but you can read, react, and vote in polls. One day he may just go mad with power and make it so that only he can respond anywhere, like on all of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. But seriously, the state of the Instagram app at this point reminds me of that one quote from Family Guy.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
It insists upon itself.
What does that?
I feel like at this point, all of Instagram's updates are just like trying to make fetch happen, and fetch will never happen. But anyway, within this broadcast channel, there were so many people who were seriously concerned for Daisy's safety, like literally just never ending people. And having gone through all the responses, it's very clear to me that literally everyone believed her. Please stay safe and alert. There's a lot of influencers experiencing this right now, which is true. Stalking is a real issue. Stay safe, Daisy. Be safe. Stay safe. There were also some people offering really good advice. Please don't write anywhere online, "my stalker." If they see you acknowledging them, especially saying "my," they can take that as a hint that you like them. And this is very good advice. You should literally never acknowledge these people. People were warning her about the teddy bears this person was sending, saying they may have a camera inside. They might be tracking devices. Like, these are all extremely valid and genuine concerns. People were even suggesting she report it to the police, which obviously she was not able to do as she was making this all up. That's literally terrifying. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. But the one that kind of makes me the saddest, please stay safe. I can't lose my favorite YouTuber. And while many may think that's an overreaction, I really don't think it is. Stalking, as we've recently discussed on the channel, is terrible. Stalking is something that can end badly, and people's concern was even spilling off of Instagram and onto other platforms. I'm concerned for Daisy, her friends, and her fans. She has since posted unrelated content with the stalker's gifts. I just wish she knew that this is really not a good idea to do. I feel bad for her viewers who have been victims of stalking. If this is fake and she does know or is in on the joke, this is so disappointing. Stalking is not a cutesy and fun concept for creating content. And someone responds saying whether she actually had a stalker or it was just her friends pranking her. I was really weirded out that she posted on her story about keeping the gift because it's cute. If it's real, it's enabling the stalker even more. And as for the enabling thing, when it comes to real victims of stalking, it's not even right that they should have to be very careful and manage the way they handle this so as not to exacerbate things. Obviously, the responsibility would fall on the other person to just stop stalking people and be a normal human being. But nevertheless, the point remains, this would be a terrible way to handle a stalking situation. And as you can see, people off platform were a little more wary of the fact that she might have been faking, but nobody could really accuse her of anything without evidence until Daisy announces her merch line. This is more than just merch. At Teddy is Calling. And so here we can see Daisy talking about her merch line, Teddy is Calling, for which she has launched a website with a countdown. Ooh, can't wait. And she launched a dedicated Instagram page for this as well. And so you may be thinking to yourself, hold on, she had like the teddy bear themed stalker and now she's releasing a teddy bear themed merch line. Yes, she made everything up, specifically with the intention of promoting her merchandise. So the stalker thingy is your way of introducing your merch? Somebody asks on the broadcast channel, and you can see Daisy gave that a heart. Somebody said, girl, I was so worried for you, to which she said, I'm actually so sorry. I feel so bad. And I just want to know, how bad can one feel for something that was planned so elaborately with so much detail over so many days? But nevertheless, people were not happy about this. Not even just the fact that they've all been duped, but to be duped over, I don't know, feeling empathy for somebody who seems like they're going through a horrible situation. Happy for you, but using stalking as a marketing strategy was a bit insensitive. Stalking is very real and very scary. Please be mindful of how you promote products in the future, please. And seeing as this was one of the people who was offering her advice on the broadcast channel, I can understand the disappointment. I don't know, does anybody else think that stalker marketing was just tasteless? Even the phrase stalker marketing is crazy. Love you, Daisy, but I don't understand how people would find marketing stalking in a positive way and lying to your fans is cute or exciting. It's just plain wrong and messed up. You made thousands of people worry about you just to get them tricked by this marketing strategy. Wow, I'm honestly disappointed with your fans and you. Good job. And that wasn't even the bulk of the backlash. There were other announcement posts, but as is quickly becoming a theme with the story, they've been yeeted into the ether. So because of that, the majority of the surviving backlash is actually off platform once again. If you thought her own fans were unhappy about this, wait till you see people casually talking about it. I think her fans were being kind of nice about it because they were on her IG page, but people elsewhere did not mince their words. She faked getting stalked as a marketing technique, and I cannot stress enough how insane you have to be to do this. Who told her this was a good idea? And she seriously said she tried to make it lighthearted and cute, like, oh my god, it's about stalking? This person also apparently got blocked, and I'm assuming this was because they called it out. And I would have to agree that this behavior is indeed unhinged, but it's a very calculated kind of unhinged that makes it all feel just kind of gross. Other people in the comments are explaining why this is not funny or cute at all. Stalking can lead to lifelong trauma, psychological and physical damage, and even death. It mocks the victims of actual stalking. You have to be seriously insensitive. And you know, there is a reason that stalking is a crime in all 50 states. I'm pretty sure our friend Daisy is from Canada, but I would have to assume there's similar vibes over there. You'll have to let me know, any Canadians in the chat. And this isn't just like, oh, stalking could be bad. There are medical studies linking it to substantial PTSD, grave effects on victims' mental health. And you know, while I haven't endured stalking per se, I have had disturbing messages sent to me via channels that are not at all public. Like, not my comment section or my DMs. I mean, I was actually personally contacted, and even just that day of trying to figure out how in the world did anybody get my information when this has never happened with like hundreds of thousands of people. It's very disturbing. I only bring that up because it was a very long time ago. It's been resolved, but Again, stalking is not a joke. That was me getting a message I didn't want. I can't really imagine more severe cases and how they would affect somebody. Other people point out there's nothing lighthearted. It's very traumatizing. Her video was such a joke. It's funny that she deleted it. And I think she had to delete it. I mean, when you have people off platform calling her out for lying about having a stalker for what will eventually be profit and saying they're done with her as a creator, it's not necessarily something you'd want to leave up on your page. I do understand. There's lots of ways to drive up engagement. Using such a serious topic to make money is something else. And the majority of her audience clearly has low intelligence or maturity to think this was a clever marketing strategy. Ugh. Personally, I believe maturity is the key word here. She is trying to sell this merch to children. That much is very clear to me. The merch photo shoot is like a school theme, 7 a.m. before class number 1. I think almost all of the promo is school themed in some way. And just a ton of her videos are about school. Pinterest schoolgirl, my after school routine, school, new school bag, last week of school. And like, yes, the school that Daisy is going to would be college because she is an adult. But the fact that some of her fans were in fact hyping her up, you trolled the internet for this. Gotta say, the marketing strategy is pretty good. Oh my God, this is so cute. Stop. You pranked the whole internet, Daisy. Like, this is horrible. I really don't blame any of her fans for not seeing this for what it is, because I do think if you view it without the context of the really dangerous behavior that she's modeling, it kind of seems fun, right? And it's nice and wonderful that all of these people don't have the additional context it takes to see how bad this is. But that is literally exactly why she should not be normalizing this kind of thing to her audience, especially not to sell some pajamas. Even people who didn't fall for it were still upset. I feel like it was obviously fake, but it's such a weird and embarrassing marketing tactic. Definitely would not be buying any of her merch now. Yeah, I was very skeptical because of the behavior, but I didn't want to in any way encourage doubting a potential victim as a survivor myself. Like, Daisy, come on, dude. Though I have to say my favorite comment, even if it was kind of really messed up, was the Blake Lively School of Advertising. I wish I hadn't laughed when I saw this because I felt like a bad person, but I did. Also, oh my God, I just realized you can see the reel in this person's Reddit post, and at that time it had 151,000 likes, almost 6,000 people sending it to each other. Like 100k likes is probably 1 million views minimum, and that was just when this person happened to capture it. It's actually kind of crazy that nobody heard about this. The internet is really becoming a bubble. Like, you can have so much influence and kind of none, I guess. What does influencer even mean anymore? Well, that's kind of implying it's ever meant anything. And I say this as somebody who could only really be described as an influencer, but obviously I deserve it because I'm objectively right about everything all the time. Anyway, if you're wondering what Daisy's response was, other than trying to bury any evidence that this has ever happened, eek, I totally understand where you're coming from. I tried my best to keep it lighthearted and cute, and it seemed like most people caught on to the idea that it was for marketing and for my upcoming brand, since I've been mentioning it in my videos and stories, crying emoji. But I apologize for my lack of sensitivity and using stalker. Mysterious gift giver would probably have been more appropriate. And you know, I gotta be honest, I have to speak my truth. I think this apology gets a 2 out of 10. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize for my lack of sensitivity is actually pretty darn good, as is the suggestion for what you could have done instead. So there's your 2 points. But she does still seem to believe that this was genuinely harmless. I think the point that feels to me as if it has been missed is that stalking can never be lighthearted or cute, especially not very realistic, weeks-long, multi-person targeted stalking that you are presenting as a real thing. Also that there's just a few more eyes when you roll out your new product. And when you combine that apology with the fact that even standalone comments about it in other places are getting deleted, did my comments about how stalking is a sensitive topic get deleted? I was looking for it too. This is seriously messed up. It's safe to say the way Daisy has handled the situation has been no bueno. So my verdict is, with a great follower count comes maybe not great responsibility, but at least hopefully some decency. Like, I'm not saying she needs to drop an apology video or cry on camera or really anything like that, but no formal response and just a "I'm sorry" and a comment reply that I don't even know is easily accessible anymore. The optics of that are crazy. I believe that harmless pranks are fine, but like, there's something about people who enjoy pranks where I just feel like most of them have no concept of what a harmless prank actually is, and something that engenders so much concern in others that they are literally worried for your actual life does not fall in the category of harmless as far as I'm concerned. Also, if I can just throw something out there, I kind of feel like the merch line would have done really well even without this. Daisy's content is nice. The merch looks well designed. I don't really feel like her fans would have had any problems buying this from her even if she hadn't pulled that stunt, but never underestimate the power of greed. But anyways, I don't make this video to say Daisy Choi needs to be canceled and driven off the internet. I just thought it was something to talk about because literally what is going on? How is anything that happens on Instagram even real? I guess the point is that it's not. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take is that instead of a fake stalking controversy, Daisy should have done a fake relationship. Then she could just drop the merch in her breakup video and it would be legendary, honestly. And you know, Dave may be onto something. I might write that down for the future. But of course, I'm excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I am, of course, running a 100%, mostly, maybe not totally, but probably somewhat for the most part, unaccredited university. Just ask anybody in the student body. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for the day is to not stalk anybody, please.